Good evening and a very warm welcome. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. I'm Thiruni Karnaratna. We're coming to you live and direct from our Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. Before we head on to your stories in detail, here's a look at tonight's top stories. Asia's leading gem and jewellery exhibition declared open by President. Shooting in Kopparathotta, Valigama, 5 targeted, 1 dead. Acting IGP says major drug and underworld figures identified. 330 million rupees from the Presidential Secretariat used by former Minister Harin to organize musical shows through the National Youth Services Council. Audit report reveals. Committee reappointed for review of Adani energy projects. Trump to be sentenced in hush money case on the 10th of January. On to those stories in detail now. Asia's leading gems and jewellery exhibition, Facet Sri Lanka, was declared open this morning by President Anurukumara Dissanayake. The Facet Sri Lanka Gem and Jewellery Exhibition is being held this year for the 31st time. The opening ceremony was attended by Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Sunil Handunetti, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism Vijay Herath and several other dignitaries. During the event, the President also joined in observing the gemstone and jewellery stalls. This exhibition is organised by the Sri Lanka Gem and Jewellery Association, the National Gem and Jewellery Authority and the Sri Lanka Export Development Board. Representatives from countries including China, India, the United States and European countries are also participating in the exhibition. Participants include representatives from renowned global gem and jewellery companies as well as local gem miners from Sri Lanka. The Facet Sri Lanka exhibition will be open to the public until the 6th of January. 3 special police teams have been assigned to investigate the shooting that took place on the Kopparathotta Road in Valigama based on instructions from the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of the Southern Province. Gunfire was opened on a group of people returning from the funeral of the inmate who died from a tree branch falling on a building of the Mathura prison on the 1st of January. The attack took place this morning on the Kopparathotta Road in Valigama. 3 unidentified individuals who arrived on a motorcycle carried out the shooting and fled the scene. 2 were injured in the shooting and 1 of them died at the scene. The second person was shot in the leg and admitted to the Mathura hospital for further treatment. The other 3 people were not injured. The deceased was a 26-year-old father of 1.
අම්මේ මම යාළුවෙක් එක්ක ඉන්නවා කිව්වා එන්නම් කිව්වා ඊට පස්සේ මම අයියාගේ පවුලයි කෝල් පිට ගත්ත 100ක් විතර ෆෝන් එක වෙලාවකට ඔෆ් කරලා තිබුණේ ඊට පස්සේ තමයි ආරංචියක් ආවේ 12ට විතර මගේ කොල්ලට කවුද වෙඩි තියලායි කියලා නෑ පුංචි දරුවෙක් ඉන්නවා අවුරුදු 2 ළමයට පුළුවන්යි කියන්නේ.
The individual who died in the shooting had attempted to run about 50 meters and jump over a wall of a house to hide from the shooters. A motorcycle suspected to be involved in the shooting has been found in the Moona Malpe Lake, about 5 kilometers from the crime scene. Acting Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasurya, addressing the community policing committees in Jaffna, said that the first and second networks involved in underworld activities and drug trafficking have been identified.
For the year 2025, we aim to achieve even better performance than what we accomplished in 2024. The government has provided all the necessary guidance and resources to help us achieve this. We have fully identified individuals involved in underworld activities and are aware of who they are. We have received the necessary red notices and blue notices in relation to these individuals. Yesterday, we also received a new red notice regarding one such individual. In the future, we will continue to work on these connections, focusing on the first and second networks involved in drug trafficking, as well as those associated with underworld activities. We have identified both the first and second networks linked to these activities, and we are taking the necessary actions. However, we will not disclose these actions to the media. We are taking necessary legal measures within the required legal framework.
Minister of Public Security Anand Vijaypala said that one of the main objectives of the Clean Sri Lanka program is to prevent drug trafficking and underworld activities. He made these comments while attending the opening of the Anuradhapura district office under the Clean Sri Lanka program.
The main goal of the Clean Sri Lanka program, as stated earlier, is to establish a Sri Lanka free from corruption, bribery and fraud, ensuring the rule of law. The police are directly involved in this effort, and their role is to facilitate the implementation of these measures. The police have the responsibility to intervene in creating a better society, a disciplined society and a society free from corruption. In fact, preventing drug trafficking and underworld activities is an integral part of this program. These actions are firmly embedded in the agenda. We have been continuously discussing this issue, and we are determined to take more proactive, planned and stronger steps in these efforts.
Lieutenant General Lasantha Rodrigo visited Kandy and obtained blessings of the sacred tooth relic today. Commander of the Sri Lanka Army, Lieutenant General Lasantha Rodrigo, met with the Diyavadana Nilame, Pradeep Nilanga Dala. Later, he called on the Mahanayaka of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero. Army Commander Lieutenant General Lasantha Rodrigo explained about the Clean Sri Lanka program as well.
The Clean Sri Lanka program is not just about the environment, it's about transforming life itself. Our army as well as civilians can contribute to this transformation. We are connected to this Clean Sri Lanka initiative in every aspect, in a way that it reflects all changes. From the army's side, we expect to do many things. As the President mentioned, we are hopeful to move forward by changing our mindset. The army is called the guardian deity of the country, and the guardian deities are always prepared to serve the public. Major General Chandana Wickramasinghe has been appointed as the new Deputy Chief of Staff of the Sri Lanka Army. The Sri Lanka Army said he assumed duties on the 2nd of January 2025 during a simple ceremony held at the Army headquarters. Major General Wickramasinghe, who is the 45th Deputy Chief of Staff, has had a distinguished career serving in the prestigious Gajapa Regiment. He holds the third highest rank in the Sri Lanka Army, that of the Deputy Chief of Staff. Born in Matale on the 26th of June 1970, Major General Wickramasinghe is a distinguished alumnus of Vijay College Matale and Dharmaraja College Kandy. He enlisted in the Sri Lanka Army as an officer cadet in 1989 at the Sri Lanka Military Academy.
3 suspects have been arrested with gold at the Battalangundua beach.
Navy spokesperson Captain Gayan Wickramasuriya said that the dinghy the suspects arrived in was also taken into custody. The weight of the gold seized on the vessel was 11.3 kilograms.
Attorney Aala Senna filed a complaint at the Criminal Investigation Department yesterday.
The
Sri Lankan army is the primary respondent in this complaint. I have consistently stood in defense of victims, especially those who were involved with murders and enforced disappearances. This is in reference to an incident that took place in 2021, where I acted as a principal witness at the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court in a case concerning an army officer. When the National Authority for the Protection of Victims of Crime and Witnesses requested the Sri Lanka army to provide protection to the complainant army officer, they failed to provide the protection and instead conducted an internal investigation with very poor handling. The army officer in question was properly held accountable, and the investigation report clearly mentions that I was assigned to an anti-government organization. At the time, I was labelled a terrorist within this investigation. I only learned of this statement on the 1st of January 2025. I am not a terrorist. I am a lawyer who stood up for the rights of victims in this country. It is clearly stated here that I was assigned to work for an anti-government organization. The army has acknowledged this and accepted that I worked for such a group. If I were indeed a terrorist, I should be arrested. These things cannot be hidden. We did not engage in terrorist activities in this country. We exposed the corrupt individuals, revealed murders, and stood up for victims' justice. That is what we have done for this country. My request is that the new army commander pay attention to this matter. He is unaware of these events. Please do not let such incidents happen again. If this complaint is examined, many corrupt practices and frauds within the army will be exposed. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Power and Energy has decided to appoint a committee to review the study of the Adani Group's energy projects in Sri Lanka. The relevant proposal will be presented to the upcoming cabinet meeting. The Ministry of Power and Energy said that it will be re-evaluating project estimates and other relevant details. Previously, a committee appointed by the ministry had studied the wind power projects that the Adani Group planned to implement in the country. The proposed wind power projects in Mannar and Punarin are expected to generate 484 megawatts of electricity. Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development, Sunil Handurnethi, said that a swift production process will be launched to fully meet the Sri Lanka's sugar demand. The minister expressed these views during a tour to the Lanka sugar factory in Savanagala. During a tour to the Lanka sugar factory in Savanagala, Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Sunil Handurnethi engaged in discussions with trade union representatives, factory staff and farmers.
Currently, we produce only 11% of the country's sugar requirement, with 89% being imported. However, we are confident that within the next 5 years, to meet the country's sugar demand, we are fast-tracking the production process.
The minister also addressed issues related to ethanol production.
Ethanol is a byproduct of sugar production. For many years, low-quality molasses were used in local arak production, purchased at a low cost, which led to the production of harmful arak for the public. Typically, when ethanol is produced from sugarcane, the cost of 1 litre ranges between 800 to 1000 rupees. However, when produced from lower-grade molasses, it can be manufactured for as little as 173 rupees per litre. At this price, a bottle of arak can be sold for about 3,800 rupees, creating a significant injustice for consumers. Additionally, rice is being used in beer production, which has contributed to the rising cost of rice. Without rice, there would be no molasses. This is because molasses can be utilized more cheaply in beer production. Ethanol made from sugarcane is the only viable product that can be produced from its byproducts. We have already submitted proposals to the relevant government authorities suggesting that a minimum price be set for ethanol derived from low-quality molasses. Currently, more than 250,000 litres of illicit alcohol are consumed daily in Sri Lanka without any standards. We are hopeful that as a byproduct of sugar, ethanol will be used to produce arak in a standardized manner, ensuring lower costs while maintaining compliance with scientific standards. Our aim is not to promote arak production, but to reduce the consumption of illicit alcohol, which has become a common habit for many, leading to the loss of income for the public. We are working on a plan of action to address this issue.
ඒක නිසා තමන්ගේ ආදායම අහිමි කරගන්න ජනතාව ඒකෙන් මුදව ගන්න. ඒ වෙනුවෙන් අපි වැඩපිළිවෙලක් අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා.
Minister of Health Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa has instructed the Sri Javardhanapura General Hospital to modernize its services and expand its treatment facilities in a more efficient and organized manner. During a visit to the Sri Javardhanapura General Hospital, Minister of Health Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa inspected the wards, rooms and overall hospital facilities. He also looked into the hospital's patient care services. In a meeting with the hospital staff, the minister discussed the challenges they are facing and asked for suggestions on additional services that could be introduced alongside the current ones. Dr. Jayatissa emphasized that the hospital should be run at minimal costs while providing quality services to the public. He also urged the staff to ensure that patients receive high-quality treatment. The minister further directed hospital officials to make decisions that will help the Sri Javardhanapura General Hospital to continue to improve and become a model of efficiency and quality in healthcare. Up next is our segment, What Happened to the Village?
What happened to the village?
Maganaguma, a name that every Sri Lankan is familiar with. The Maganaguma Construction Equipment Company was formed by stripping some responsibilities previously vested in the Road Development Authority. When taking a look at the parliamentary Hansard reports from 2010 to mid-2013, one could see just how many questions about this were raised. One opposition parliamentarian who had raised serious questions on this matter eventually ended up joining the government, ironically at a point where the government had failed to provide answers to the questions that were raised by him. He secured significant positions within the same government he previously questioned. The questions raised back then are still unanswered. That parliamentarian, however, is once again in Parliament. In addition to its headquarters in Paliaguda, Maganaguma's projects operated in several regions across the country. Before the country went bankrupt, the Maganaguma Construction Equipment Company was one of the first institutions to show signs of financial instability. It was at a point where billions had to be paid to contractors that the government of former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa decided to shut down Maganaguma. While a group of contractors had taken legal action against this, the Ranil Wickramasinghe administration compensated a selected few contractors only and shut down the Maganaguma program. Had an investigation been conducted into the fixed and movable assets of the company prior to its shutdown, a few discrepancies would have come up. This is the Gane Valpola site in Kakirava, which operated under Maganaguma. This place was involved in road construction activities in the northern and north-central provinces. This site included facilities for making concrete, carpet roads and ABC mixtures. About 120 people were employed here, but now only 5 security guards remain. Guarding this site does not mean the items here will not wear out. There are about 35 construction vehicles parked here, including backhoes, tippers, dump trucks, motor graders, JCB loaders and bowsers. These machinery can be operated only if there is someone to operate them. Letting public property sit idle for years only goes to show that although a company called Maganaguma was formed, there was no vision to continue it. People of this country, including those who cannot afford 3 meals a day, pay for all of this. If those responsible take action accordingly, that would definitely be a step taken towards developing the country.
what happened to the village.
It has been revealed that the National Youth Services Council spent a total of 323,393,249 rupees on the Smart Youth Night music concert series organised by them. Now, this expenditure was uncovered during an audit conducted by the Youth Services Council. The concert series was held at various locations, including the Maharagama National Youth Services Centre, Gaul, Ampara, Kuliapitiya, Puttalam, Dambulla, Jaffna, Mahyangana, Hatton, Hinguragoda, Bandaravilla, Balisara, the Colombo Racecourse and the Kettarama Stadium. During this time period, the National Youth Services Council was under the supervision of the then Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports, Harin Fernando. The audit report, along with all recommendations, has been forwarded to the Secretary of the Ministry of Sports and Youth Affairs. Meanwhile, the Deputy Minister of Youth Affairs, Eranga Gunasekara, has instructed a formal investigation into this revelation.
News First with the people.
Sri Lanka Customs said that 88,000 metric tons of imported rice have been released to the market. This includes 34,000 metric tons of raw rice and 54,000 metric tons of parboiled rice. The government had provided a permit to import rice that ends on the 10th of January. To address the ongoing rice shortage, the government also granted permission for private importers to import rice to ensure adequate supply. Now, while it may appear that it is just me, your anchor for tonight, visible on your screens presenting the news, there is, in fact, a powerful force working silently behind the scenes. And without them, we would not have the privilege of delivering such high-quality news to the people. This force is the collective strength of our local correspondents spread across the 25 districts of the country. Our provincial leaders, our dedicated team of correspondents, both men and women. Today, they came together for the Provincial Correspondence Summit 2025 at Stein Studios, Ratmalana. Provincial leaders from across Sri Lanka gathered today at Stein Studios in Ratmalana for the annual Provincial Correspondence Summit. For over 3 decades, these dedicated correspondents have remained steadfast in their commitment to providing the people of Sri Lanka with accurate and impartial reporting. They are News First, and they are the cornerstone of our strength. Despite facing life-threatening challenges during floods and extreme weather, they continue their work, unwavering in their mission to ensure we have the right to know the truth. The Provincial Correspondence Summit 2025, which celebrates the exceptional service of provincial leaders, was held under the leadership of the chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group, Sashi Raja Mahindran. Group Director of the Capital Maharaja Group, Shavan Daniel, along with the senior management from Newsfirst, also attended the event. A highlight of the summit was a special address by renowned cricketer and former Sri Lankan cricket captain Marwan Atapattu.
Teamwork appreciate respect
Teamwork is something that needs to be valued and respected. Unfortunately, respect is often lacking in our society. Respect is something that must be earned. We often respect the wrong things, cars, clothes or watches. But where is the respect for education, for humanity? Why can't we learn to value what truly matters? We need to respect each other's actions, from a person serving us a sandwich to the person who brings us tea. We should speak politely using terms like madam and sir. These values are taught in school and we should carry them forward into the world, treating others with the same respect every day. Exceptional contributions of Newsfirst provincial leaders were also recognized at the event. A judge has ruled that Donald Trump will be sentenced on the 10th of January in his hush money case in New York, just days before he is scheduled to be inaugurated as the President of the United States of America.
A judge has ordered that Donald Trump will be sentenced on the 10th of January in his hush money case in New York, less than 2 weeks before he is set to be sworn in as president. New York Justice Juan Merchant signaled that he would not sentence Trump to jail time, probation or a fine, but instead gave him an unconditional discharge and wrote in his order that the president-elect could appear in person or virtually for the hearing. Trump had attempted to use his presidential election victory to have the case against him dismissed. His team criticized the judge's decision to go forward with the sentencing and said the quote-unquote lawless case should be dismissed immediately. Trump was convicted in May of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records related to $130,000 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. The charges related to attempts to cover up reimbursements to his ex-lawyer Michael Cohen, who in the final days of the 2016 election campaign paid off the adult film star to remain silent about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump. The president-elect has denied all wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty, arguing that the case was an attempt to harm his 2024 presidential campaign. On Friday, Trump's spokesperson criticized Judge Merchant's sentencing order, saying it was part of a witch hunt. In his latest motion against the case, Trump had argued that the case would hang over him during his presidency and impede his ability to govern. Justice Merchant said he had been advised of several measures he should employ that could assuage Trump's concerns about being distracted by a criminal case while serving as president that fell short of the extreme remedy of overturning the jury's verdict. His options included delaying the sentencing until Trump leaves the White House in 2029 or guaranteeing a sentence that would not involve prison time. Gabriel Boric, the president of Chile, has made history as the first leader in the Americas to visit the South Pole after arriving at a US base located there. Chile's President Gabriel Boric has become the first leader in the Americas to visit the South Pole after arriving at a US base there. The president said his visit to the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station reaffirmed Chile's own claim to sovereignty over part of the Antarctic. Boric said in footage shown in Chilean television, quote, "This is a milestone for us. It's the first time a Chilean president has come to the South Pole and talked about Chile's Antarctic mission," unquote. Boric's office said that he traveled with a group of scientists and several cabinet members, including ministers for the armed forces and environment. Boric said his visit underlined Chile's determination to play a key role in scientific projects in the area, especially those involving climate change. In a statement, the government said research centers, universities, diplomats and the armed forces had united to ensure that Chile becomes the world's gateway to the Antarctic. Leftist President Gabriel Boric won Chile's presidential election in 2021 to become the country's youngest leader ever at 35 years of age. Only two other world leaders had visited the South Pole before Boric, the Prime Ministers of New Zealand and Norway. Several countries including Chile, the UK, France, Norway, Australia, New Zealand and Argentina have laid claim to parts of Antarctica and many more have a presence there. Tavi Samara, a student of St. Thomas's College, Mount Lavinia, has ranked 11th in the world in under-11 table tennis. Now, this is the highest world ranking ever achieved by a Sri Lankan table tennis player. Tavi Samara achieved this historic feat by becoming the first Sri Lankan to break into the top 12 in the World Table Tennis Rankings in any age group. He also became the first Sri Lankan player to simultaneously rank in the top 70 in two age categories, number 11 in under 11 boys and number 67 in under 13 boys. Lukeller produced a sensational display to defeat Michael van Gerwen 7-3 and clinch the 2024-25 Paddy Power World Darts Championship title at London's Alexandra Place yesterday.
Ladies and gentlemen, our two-time World Championship finalist, it's time to meet Luke the Nuke!
The 2025 PDC World Championship was won by English teenager Lukeller, who became the youngest world darts champion in history. The 17-year-old, who was the fourth seed at Alexandra Palace, defeated three-time world champion Michael van Gerwen 7-3 in the final on the 3rd of January. That triumph came 12 months after Littler lost in the final on debut world number 1 Luke Humphries. Defending champion Humphries was knocked out of the 2025 event by Peter Wright in the fourth round, leaving Littler and Dutchman van Gerwen as the highest ranked players left in the draw. The Why Relax party at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo today drew a large crowd of young people, offering a day full of entertainment and activities. We'll leave you tonight with highlights of the event. Good night.
Hosted by YFM, the Why Relax party at the Vihara Mahadevi Park in Colombo featured a range of attractions including exciting game zones, a vibrant food zone and a fashion show. As part of the event, screen tests were also held to identify new talent with fresh ideas for future opportunities at Newsfirst. The highlight of the event was a live concert where Chanu Kamura and the Yaka crew took the stage, joined by performers Umaria, Hana Shafa, Wasti, Dinesh Gamage and Kaiser Kais.